People keep asking if Way of the Hunter 2 is finally going to replace Call of the Wild. I've been playing Call of the Wild for years, and I've also spent quite a bit of time in Way of the Hunter 2. So today, we're going to take a close look at both games and see how they actually compare. We're going to talk about things like which game is more fun to hunt in, animals and species, maps and scenery, hunting mechanics, trophy systems, and more. And by the end of the video, you should have a pretty good idea which game might be right for you. So the first thing we're going to talk about is which game is actually more fun to hunt in. And honestly, both games are a lot of fun. They're just fun in different ways. Call of the Wild is a faster paced, more arcadey style hunting game that offers players a lot of different ways to enjoy it. You can play missions, do casual hunting, go trophy hunting, or grind for great ones. There are a lot of different ways to play the game. Way of the Hunter 2 leans much more towards realism. It's definitely a slower paced experience. In fact, you'll probably run into about one animal in Way of the Hunter 2 for every 10 animals you see in Call of the Wild. But that also means that when you finally do get that animal, the hunt feels very rewarding. Way of the Hunter 2 also has rare animals just like Call of the Wild. It just doesn't have great ones. Grinding for great ones in Call of the Wild is extremely popular, and a lot of players really enjoy that style of gameplay. On the other hand, Way of the Hunter 2 allows players to age their trophies. If you find a rare or promising animal, you can let it mature and try to create the ultimate trophy. But if you wait too long, you might lose it completely. So both games are a lot of fun, they just reward different styles of hunting. Next, let's talk about the animals. Both games offer a wide variety of species, but they approach things a little differently. Call of the Wild currently has over 100 species spread across reserves around the world. You can hunt everything from white-tailed deer and moose to lions, crocodiles, buffalo, and even tigers. Way of the Hunter also features a good variety of animals, but the game focuses more on realism and herd behavior. It's also a newer game, so it simply hasn't had as much time to grow yet. As more DLC maps are added, I'm sure we'll see more species and maps added to the game. One really interesting mechanic in Way of the Hunter 2 is the genetics system. Animals have genetic potential, and over time, the herd can improve or decline depending on how you manage it. Call of the Wild doesn't use genetics in the same way, but it does have diamonds, rare fur types, super rares, and great ones, which are extremely rare trophies that players love to hunt for. Both games also feature beautiful maps, but they do feel different. Call of the Wild has large reserves that are packed with animals and hunting opportunities. Exploration is a big part of the game, and each map usually offers a good variety of species and terrain. Way of the Hunter maps tend to feel more realistic and a bit quieter. You won't see animals as frequently, but when you do find them, it often feels more like a real hunting experience. When it comes to the actual hunting mechanics, this is where the games really start to separate. Call of the Wild focuses on accessibility. It's fairly easy to learn, and once you understand the mechanics, you can develop efficient hunting strategies. Way of the Hunter leans more towards simulation. Animal behavior, tracking, and culling the herd play a much bigger role in how successful your hunts will be. Both systems are fun, they just appeal to different types of players. The respawn systems in the two games also work very differently. In Call of the Wild, animals do not grow. They will always be the size they are when they spawn. When you harvest an animal, it will respawn somewhere on the map as the same species and sex, but with a different score. And it could be a rare or a super rare, or even a great one, if it is a great one species. In Way of the Hunter, animals can actually grow in age over time. Changing the time by 3 full days will age animals by 1 year. That means if you find a promising animal or a rare, you can let it age and potentially become an even better trophy. But if you age it too much, the animal could die before you even get a chance to hunt it. And because time affects everything on the map, aging one species means all the animals are aging at the same time. I actually experienced this myself when I left an albino on the map to age, and suddenly I had 2 albinos appear. That was a pretty sweet surprise. Moving on to scorecards and trophy information. Both games also present trophy information a little differently. In Call of the Wild, the scorecard shows everything on one screen: the trophy rating, class, gender, weight, fur type, difficulty, weapon used, ammo, distance, harvest check, and the final medal rating. In Way of the Hunter, the system is more detailed. The game even includes a bullet cam which is really cool. The scorecard shows which organs were hit, the percentage of damage, the animal's fitness, rarity, and detailed scoring like beam length and spread. You can see this in Call of the Wild as well. When you click on the True Score tab, it will show the measurements and how it came to be that score. Animals are then rated from 1 to 5 stars. In the original Way of the Hunter, you could see some of this information while spotting animals, but in Way of the Hunter 2, you don't see it until you harvest the animal, which makes judging trophies more interesting. Moving on to graphics. Visually, both games look great. Call of the Wild has beautiful environments and lighting, and many of the maps are absolutely stunning. They're really scenic, and honestly, every map is beautiful in its own way. Way of the Hunter 2 also looks really amazing and tends to focus heavily on environmental realism and animal animations. The new game is absolutely stunning. It really is. I am really impressed with the graphics. This is definitely one area where both games do a great job. Moving on to training and learning. Both games have a learning curve, but I will say that Way of the Hunter 2 probably does a better job of introducing new players to the game. When you start Way of the Hunter 2, the game walks you through the mechanics step by step. In Call of the Wild, most of the early learning comes from the missions and from watching informational videos online. And if you're looking for that, I can definitely hook you up. Trophy lodges. Trophy lodges are another fun part of both games. Call of the Wild has 2 lodge DLCs that allows players to preserve hundreds of trophies and even create multi-mounts with different poses and combinations of animals. Way of the Hunter 2 also allows players to display their trophies, although the lodge is integrated into the main outpost area. I don't think you can store quite as many trophies as you can in Call of the Wild, but you can definitely celebrate and revisit your best hunts. One other small difference between the game is how changing the time works. In Call of the Wild, you have to pay in-game money to change the time, and if you do it repeatedly in short succession, it becomes very expensive. In Way of the Hunter, you can change the time for free, and you can even do it from the deck of the outpost using the vicinity menu without entering the building. It's a small feature, but it's actually very convenient. So final verdict. Which game is better? Honestly, that really depends on what you're looking for. If you want a faster paced hunting experience with lots of animals, rare trophies, and things like great ones to chase and grind for, Call of the Wild is probably the better fit. If you prefer a slower, more realistic hunting simulation where patience and culling the herd play a bigger role, then Way of the Hunter 2 might be exactly what you're looking for. At the end of the day, both games are a lot of fun. They just deliver that fun in different ways. If you enjoy hunting games and want to learn more about Call of the Wild, make sure you check out this video right here where I explain how to consistently find diamonds in the game. Thank you for watching.